Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into Dispatch on my faithful low-end laptop. An i3 processor, no graphics card, running at 1080p and targeting 60 FPS, just like we always do. Right now, you've already seen the settings on screen, so no fiddling around. We jump straight into how it actually performs. If you're like me, testing games on a budget rig, you know the drill. Can it run, and is it playable? Let's see how Dispatch handles the challenge. Running at full HD 1080p with VSync off and full screen mode enabled or toggled, as you've seen, this game doesn't offer a lot of graphics settings, so there's no turn shadows off or reduce texture quality menu. That means what you see is effectively what you get. On my i3 plus integrated graphics setup, I observed that the game held remarkably steady around the 55 to 60 FPS mark for large stretches of time, which is honestly impressive given the hardware. There were occasional dips into the high 40s, especially during heavier scenes with lots of animation or effects, but nothing that made it completely unplayable or unbearably choppy. Loading times were modest, too. While not instant, they were acceptable for a low-end system and rarely broke immersion. As far as stutters go, I noted only a couple of noticeable micro-hitches when transitioning between episodes or big cutscenes, but the frame rate quickly recovered. Given that I'm running without a dedicated GPU, I'd call the performance solid and quite playable for what many would consider a budget rig. Now let's get deeper into the gameplay. I'll be honest, I went into this one with extremely low expectations. For the last few months, I've tried several new releases, and most of them just pushed me away within an hour. I started thinking maybe I was burnt out, maybe nothing felt exciting anymore. But Dispatch gave me that reassuring tap on the shoulder that said, "Relax, you still like games, you just weren't playing the right ones." The heart of Dispatch is its storytelling. The moment the episodes begin, the characters feel alive and expressive, almost like they walked straight out of a tightly written web series. Their personalities, reactions, and the way scenes are framed create a rhythm that's surprisingly catchy. The story itself isn't complicated, but that's exactly why it works. Instead of drowning you in lore or over-explaining every twist, the game moves with a confident, steady pace. You're never bored, never waiting too long for something to happen, and never overwhelmed with information. It's simple, but the satisfying kind of simple. The gameplay leans more toward an interactive drama than a full action experience. You're not running around giant open worlds or juggling a dozen side quests. Instead, most of the game revolves around dialogue choices, small decisions, and controlling scenarios from the perspective of a dispatcher handling emergencies and hero missions. It feels like you're sitting in the control room of a superhero universe, keeping everything from falling apart while everyone relies on your instructions. Every decision adds a bit of tension, even if it's smaller in scale. A lot of players enjoy this because it feels like you're participating in a series rather than grinding through a heavy game. Each episode is structured like an installment of a show. It keeps moving, it's paced well, and it leaves just enough curiosity to make you want to jump into the next part. There's a nice balance between humor, stress, and emotional beats, which keeps the game from ever feeling flat. But just so expectations stay realistic, the interactivity is limited. You can make choices, but only a handful of them influence the larger story. It's not a big branching narrative where one decision completely rewrites the rest of the game. Most of the impactful choices show up toward the later episodes, so if you're someone who wants constant, high-impact branching paths, you'll probably feel a little boxed in. The game definitely focuses more on delivering a polished story rather than giving you deep mechanical control. The good news is that Dispatch plays incredibly smoothly on low-end hardware. Despite offering almost no graphics settings, the visuals look clean and the animations rarely stutter. Scenes transition neatly, dialogues load fast, and the overall presentation stays crisp even on an i3 with integrated graphics. It's one of those rare games where the lack of a dedicated GPU doesn't hold you back. You don't feel like you're compromising on the experience just because you're gaming on modest hardware. The replay system also deserves a mention. You can revisit particular scenes or episodes using the save slot feature, which is great if you want to explore alternate reactions or moments. Just remember that revisiting earlier episodes locks the later ones until you catch up again. It's a small thing, but it keeps the sense of progression intact. Overall, Dispatch feels like a refreshing break from bloated game design. It respects your time, delivers a tight and entertaining narrative, and runs brilliantly on weaker systems. If you've been disappointed with recent releases, or you just want something that doesn't demand a monster PC, this game fits perfectly. So, after spending a good chunk of time with Dispatch on low-end hardware, what are my final thoughts? From a performance standpoint, it's an easy thumbs up. On an i3 with no graphics card, the game ran far better than I expected. The frame rate stayed steady, the visual quality was more than acceptable for a story-driven title, and loading times never broke the flow. Even scene transitions, which usually expose weak hardware, stayed smooth. It genuinely feels like a game that respects your system instead of fighting it. From a gameplay and story perspective, Dispatch lands in a sweet spot. It won't redefine the genre or give you 100 different play styles, but it delivers a focused, entertaining experience with characters that feel memorable and a narrative that pulls you along without wasting your time. There's a certain charm in how it blends simplicity with style. You can feel the polish even on a modest setup, which isn't something you can say about every modern release. If you're running a basic laptop or relying on integrated graphics and you're used to skipping new games because of your specs, this one is genuinely worth a look. It's refreshing to play something modern that doesn't treat low-end hardware like an afterthought. The no graphics card situation never becomes a handicap here. Of course, if you're expecting deep, interactive systems, complex mechanics, or big open-world freedom, you might feel a bit limited. Dispatch knows exactly what it wants to be and doesn't try to go beyond that. But if you're here for a good story, solid pacing, and smooth playback on lean hardware, this game will probably surprise you in the best way. If you liked this review of Dispatch on a low-end PC and want more tests like this, especially for games that claim high specs but might run on less, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below if you'd like me to test any specific game on i3 integrated graphics. I'd be happy to do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we push our humble hardware a little further. Until then, happy gaming on whatever rig you've got.